All right, please welcome to the stage, hEARt.
Good afternoon. My name is Asta Daria, and I'm here today with my associates, Arya Thakur, Shaylee Shah, and Swati Sampath. Together, we are hEARt. Last year, we all came into the University of Michigan as freshmen. In our transition, Arya and I, having known each other since childhood, were each other's rocks. However, we found that a lot of our friends, both old and new, were really struggling with that transition, and throughout the course of the year, we found them coming to talk to us more and more often about the challenges they were facing.
Across campus, a few of our friends were experiencing the exact same thing, and together we started to wonder, what if there were other students on campus facing the same mental challenges who didn't know where to turn? The answer was that there were. 74% of undergraduates say that they struggle to handle stress, and stress is related to mental health issues. Mental health issues in the college population are associated with lower GPAs, a higher rate of substance abuse, and a higher dropout rate. In fact, 64% of dropouts are due to mental health concerns. This may be because 50% of students who experience a crisis on campus don't get the help that they need. Why? Maybe because the average student-to-counselor ratio on a Big Ten campus is over 1,000 to 1.
Clearly, this is an issue on campuses nationwide, and Michigan is no exception. We collected over 250 student survey responses and found that the majority of students experienced symptoms of depression as defined by the Mayo Clinic. In the last 12 months alone, 73% reported feeling anxious, 86% said they were overwhelmed, and 86% said they were exhausted. When asked to rate their stress on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not stressed at all and 10 being stressed to a debilitating extent, 77% of students fell in the latter half of that scale.
We asked students why through our survey and through individual interviews. They told us they weren't aware of the services offered, and when they were aware, time and access were both issues with their busy schedules and the long wait times for appointments. They said they were worried about being judged when they sought help. And finally, they told us that even though their friends are the first place they go to seek help, sometimes their friends just can't relate.
So what's the solution? Chat therapy with peer support. Why? Because chat therapy has been proven to reduce feelings of isolation, and in some cases is just as effective as in-person therapy. Additionally, peer support is an evidence-based technique. 42% of students said it was critical to their college success, and studies show that it reduces hospitalization rates, increases student engagement, and decreases substance abuse, which is a problem that is especially prevalent on college campuses. So how do we combine the two?
With hEARt. hEARt is a peer support chat therapy app that will quickly connect a student user with another student, an empathetic listening audience, or an ELA. This ELA will be extensively trained by our organization in active listening strategies and crisis management strategies. They'll be able to provide support to the user, and they'll also have experience in the same area of mental health the user is struggling in.
Users would download our app and be directed to a welcome screen that briefly reiterates our mission and asks if they would like to connect to a listener or another resource. If they choose to connect with a listener, after certifying that they're not immediately in danger of harming themselves or others, they'll be asked exactly what they would like to talk about, and within 24 hours, will be connected to one of our ELAs. We're currently testing our model through Google Voice with a small focus group.
Even as we refine our model, we recognize that hEARt would be the only resource on the market to offer peer support with trained listeners in a way that is accessible, anonymous, free, and localized. With these benefits, we'll be able to offer support to the thousands of undergraduates that really need it. We'll reach out to these students first through social media. Then we'll use peer ambassadors who will spread the news through word of mouth. We'll also advertise through university orientations, which is where most students learn about resources offered on campus. And finally, we'll reach out through professors, academic advisors, and RAs, who are often the first to notice when a student is struggling.
Through these mediums, we hope to reach at least 7,000 students, or approximately the incoming freshman class. From there, we'll reach the 29,000 students across campus, and through our expansion plans with the Big Ten network, we hope to reach the 500,000 population located there.
In the coming months, we hope to complete the research and development of our application, as well as develop a training program in collaboration with experts both on and off campus. We'll also complete our prototyping with the Google Voice model. We'll build partnerships with resources both on and off campus, and recruit and train listeners to our organization. In 2019, we'll launch the pilot and use customer data to develop an update. In 2020, we'll release that update and expand to other campuses.
To take this to the next level, we look to continue our market research and complete that development of the training program, in addition to obtaining funds for both our product development and launch. In order to keep it sustainable and free moving forward, we look to create licensing agreements with universities, partner with organizations both on and off campus, access the mental health grants available to us, and partner with organizations, obtain the backing of nonprofit organizations.
Our plan is simple. We'll first develop a template application that will then license to universities so that students might access it. Then we'll hire a student team on the ground at that university. They will develop a campus resource guide to be included in the template app, and they'll recruit and train listeners to the organization at their campus. Why are we qualified to do this? Well, for one, we've utilized many of the resources available to us for free as Michigan students. We're working closely with the Center for Socially Engaged Design, Kresge Library, and the Center for Entrepreneurship to ensure that our market research is accurate and our design remains socially engaged. We're also working with other mental health resources on campus, like CAPS, the Wolverine Support Network, and the Healthy Minds Network. Furthermore, our team is both multidisciplinary and multi-talented. I myself am a biomedical engineer with a focus in multidisciplinary design. My passion is applying engineering principles to develop tools that enhance mental wellness.
I'm a neuroscience major with a minor in sociology, and my studies in psychology, health, and medicine are perfectly tailored to boosting mental wellness here on this campus. Swati Sampath, our public health candidate, has a background in applied statistics and provides a unique focus in customer analytics. And Shaylee Shah, our computer scientist, has proven invaluable with her technical knowledge and her UI design.
Together, we all have firsthand knowledge of this problem and prime access to the community of stakeholders. All we need now is support to take us to the next level. We are hEARt, and we're asking you today to help us make this a reality. Please believe in our passion, our idea, and our commitment. Let's come together to be here for students when they need us. Thank you. We'll now take your questions.
Okay. Your logo's growing on me.
Good to hear.
But I have sort of a couple of other questions.
Yeah.
One is, I'm wondering if you've had any issues with the term therapy, because that might require some sort of regulatory oversight. Might be a simple fix if you had. I don't know. Has anybody brought it up yet?
So actually, just heading back to our benchmarking here, therapy is a term that we got that's in kind of an industry standard. For example, 7 Cups of Tea is pretty established in this market.
Okay.
And even though they don't offer everything that we offer, as we said, they still use the term chat therapy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And the other question is similar to what I asked the other team. You mentioned you want to analyze data. What data and how?
Yeah.
So the data that we have collected through our surveys have been representative of all the different types of students on this campus. So essentially what we would like to do moving forward is we would have some sort of feedback mechanism in terms of on the user side as well as the listener audience side, where we could get feedback, and we haven't decided exactly what those components would be, but some way to measure the growth, to measure and see if what we are providing for them is actually useful and helpful and is actually helping students cope with their mental well-being. So what we would do is take all that information after our first iteration of this app and incorporate that into our next iteration. So by customer data, that could range anywhere from simply looking at how a user is feeling before they use the app versus after, and analyzing that over the period of time, as well as on the listener's side, how their experience has been. Do they feel like they are helping the person they're connected to, et cetera? And we would just use that information to make the next iteration of this app that much more helpful to students.
Even regarding to the listener, sorry, to add on to that real quick more, if we were asking listeners, like, what would you think would be more helpful when you were helping this user? And that would help us add to our training so that we could help even more people and be more successful in training our listeners. Yeah.
I have a comment about the localized differentiation here. So one of the things that I think is really unique about your model is this local component. How are you thinking about local chat support, people on the same campus, and safety? So safety of users bumping into each other or privacy. I have a telemedicine company where a lot of our users want to have a chat coach that's as far away from them physically as possible. So how are you guys thinking about local support as a benefit to your platform?
Yeah, so we would definitely keep in mind the kind of danger of having students on the same campus, but that also is a strength to us because those are students that will know exactly what you're talking about, what you're going through. For example, if I was to talk about like, I am in this class and it is absolutely awful, and I could be speaking to a listener who's like, wow, I know somebody in that exact same class and they're going through the same thing. And that's something that's really helpful. It would kind of be like we have office hours with peer mentors, something like that. As well as with the safety aspect, we are anonymous, so they would be protected in that way, as well as listeners would obviously be trained not to share that information. We would go through a very extensive interview and application process and make sure that everyone who is a listener is very qualified to do so and is well-versed in our security protocols.
Yeah, and just adding on to that too, on the app side as well, we'll have a lot of security protocols. For example, if you're on the same campus, let's say somebody is chatting with someone and the listener does not follow our listening training protocol and somehow shares personal information, or there are some buzzwords such as shared email, shared phone numbers, places to meet. There could also be harming yourself or others. Those would all be kind of in our security protocol and kind of stored in a place where if we see that, it would be tagged, and then our exec board would look at that and have that person stop using the app immediately. So we would have to step in at that point.
Can I pick up a question around the training? How long do you think it would take to train one of your ELAs, and where will you get the content to do that?
Yeah, so we're currently looking into mechanisms for training. CAPS has been lovely in kind of introducing us to the trainings that they use for the Wolverine Support Network and taking a look at those, and as well as taking a look at some of our competitors. For example, I worked as a listener through 7 Cups of Tea, and I kind of saw kind of the internal mechanisms of how their training works. And the one thing I did notice there was I really did not feel prepared as a listener. I would like some more training to build on that. So using my own experience there, as well as experiences speaking to the Wolverine Support Network, what they use to prepare their supporters that do in-person therapy, and just going through the trainings ourselves and kind of pulling what works, what doesn't, what we feel would be helpful. That would be kind of how we develop it. But right now, our general idea is around 20 hours of training.
Great answer, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. Can you flip back to your slide about your financial slide where it showed how much you need to fundraise?
Absolutely.
And then can you say something more? Oh, no, but that's great. I hadn't seen that. I don't think we've seen that
this
slide.
is actually our appendix. Yeah.
Great. I wanted to hear a little bit more, and this I can't speak and read at the same time, so I'm just going to ask you, and you can tell me if it's on the slide, about your kind of your projections in terms of what you need from revenue and fundraising to be sustainable going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. So our biggest thing right now is the actual development costs. One of the nice things about being a student here is that we do get a lot of things that usually cost a lot more for either cheaper or for free. So for example, we're talking with the Entrepreneurship Clinic right now to get legal advice, which usually costs a lot of money. So things like that. So the breakdown you see here, we're a little bit more market research, and then our estimates are around 7,000 or so for the actual app development. And that's taken from actually, Find Your Ditto is another company that did something really similar to ours. And so we talked to them and looked at their estimates and used those to kind of build our model as far as the estimates go. And for immediate revenue, a lot of it would be things like this pitch competition, fundraising on a smaller scale, and then ideally, as we mentioned, the goal would be to partner with the university and be able to use that template in order to get licensing models there.
And your expenses, sorry, can you go back one more? Mm-hmm. So that's just for that. Is that all of your expenses? That doesn't look like all your expenses, because that's not personnel or?
No, so those are kind of our major recurring costs. The training estimates are based on, again, just kind of the general research we've done based on some of the competitor models. But again, that is kind of a work in progress depending on things like what our final training program comes out to, what that final app cost comes out to. So that's still very negotiable, but the ones that we have on this side are pretty well researched.
Thank you.